A wave of protest is sweeping France, and yes, you might be quipping, what else is new? This is, after all, a nation that prides itself on its long history of erecting barricades and defying the established order. This time, what started as a social media protest against rising fuel prices has snowballed into the Yellow Vests movement, with those blocking highways and byways, wearing those signature high-vis bibs that European motorists must keep at all times in their cars. What makes this protest different? No government likes to hear the words leaderless movement used in the same sentence. Who are the Gilets jaunes, as we call them in French? How are the president and his prime minister responding? More broadly, how do you tax carbon emissions in a way that doesn't unduly punish the little guy? And how does France's president address the seeming contradiction that's expressed in this country and across Europe between those who want lower taxes, see, for instance, the new Italian budget, and those who want to save the environment, as witnessed by recent inroads by the Greens across the continent? The biggest blows so far to Emmanuel Macron's presidency has been the shock resignation of his popular environment minister, Nicolas Hulot, who felt the interests of polluters were always getting the last word. How does that mesh with the Yellow Vests movement? Today in the France 24 debate, we're looking at the road rage that's been witnessed since Saturday in this country. With us, he's a former French environment minister, very active in the organizing of the climate change summit here back in 2015. Brice Lalonde chairs the Business and Climate Summit. Thank you for being with us. Thanks as well to economist Jean Messia, political advisor to French far-right leader Marine Le Pen, and the party which has changed its name, no longer the National Front, but the
Rassemblement National.
The Rassemblement National. How do you translate that?
Well,
the National
Union or National
Gathering. National Gathering. Okay. Yeah. Also with us, Alexis Poulain, co-founder of the digital news site The Modern World. And from Luxembourg, sociologist Louis Chauvel, who teaches at the University of Luxembourg, the author of The Spiral of Demotion. I hope I translated that properly.
Yeah, so you can translate it as a spiral of downward mobility. And what we are seeing right now is a result of this downward movement.
And with something we'll be talking about, the France 24 debate on Facebook and Twitter, #F24debate. Saturday's 10th day of action has spilled over into Sunday and now into Monday. The movement smaller as the work week began, but still determined, with now the blocking of at least two of French oil giant Total's 9 refineries in France. Ivana Scatola has more.
Blocking petrol refineries and preventing access to fuel depots. They're just some of the latest tactics the so-called Yellow Vest movement is trying out this Monday. This refinery near Marseille is one of the ones that's been targeted by protesters, who are showing no signs of stopping the fight anytime soon.
Macron, we are in the streets. Resign, you're finished.
The cost of living is too high. At the end of the day, we're sick of it. We're fed up with everything. You can earn €1,000, but it barely gets you to the end of the month. So this is a revolt.
Hundreds of cars have been blocked, and in order to pass through, they have to show their support for the protest.
Il est là? Il faut le mettre sur le tableau de bord. Au moins vous... Super. Merci monsieur.
It's the same situation on the other side of the country near Rennes, where petrol company Total decided to close its depot on Sunday because of the protests.
We blocked the refineries, so we achieved what we wanted to. Solidarity's been building up again where before it had ebbed, and we're going to be staying here because I think we can still get our message heard.
In La Rochelle in the west, 2 other roadblocks have been set up to stop access to oil terminals nearby. Protesters are now hoping they can convince lorry drivers to support their cause.
Louis Chauvel, I want to pick up on what you just said in the introduction. You're saying that this is a manifestation of downward mobility of people from the middle classes?
Yes, and it's a very long move. I mean that it's important to see that it's not simply the last year or the last decade. It's a generational issue. I mean that people today have the memory of the middle class societies of the 1970s, of the 1980s, and over the last 30 years, the socio-economic situation of the middle class changed a lot. The trend of declining inequality is over. We are facing a situation of stagnation, of increasing inequalities in a context where everything is more expensive today than 20 years ago. In particular, the most important aspect of everything is housing problems. Indeed, the square meter everywhere in big cities, in Paris and elsewhere, the square meter developed 2 or 3-fold. It had been such intense that for a middle class family, it was possible in Paris to buy 9 square meters in the 1990s with the accumulated wages of 1 year. 1 year equal 9 square meters. And now it's the same year of wage represents only 3 square meters. And it gives an impression of diminishing life. Everything is more expensive, not absolutely everything, not computers, but real life. I mean, phone bills, insurance company bills, and all those kind of common aspects are more and more expensive in the lower middle class categories. And recently, the increasing cost of energy and of diesel in particular generated a kind of new consciousness of hardship. And this situation is not specific to France. The Yellow Vest movement is specific to France, but it's simply a small part of a very long process of increasing frustration, of saturation of frustration due to the increasing gap between needs and desires and the reality of socio-economic situation of the lower middle class.
All
in
right,
France.
so less spending power, Brice Lalonde, and now prices go up at the pump, and it proves to be a spark. Is that how you see what's happened this weekend?
Yes, because I think he's right. I think it goes much deeper than a protest against the carbon tax. People are afraid, are concerned by the future. They feel a drop in the purchasing power they have, and so they are angry against that. Now, of course, the carbon tax or the pump was perhaps the last straw who broke the camel's back. But I think it's very serious. I think it's serious, but it's a good thing that it comes out now. It's a good thing because today the climate policies of the world is on the table. It's not only the Greens or the environmentalists. All the French society and probably all in Europe are discussing how are we going to do it. And probably it's right that there's not enough social consideration. Look, why would car be taxed and not airplanes, for instance? Airplanes for the rich people, they go away on the world. No taxes, but for the people who has a car and goes to the pump neighborhood, taxes. So there's certainly things to be done on the social side. We need a social contract for the energetic transition. Yes, we need that right now.
Do you agree with that diagnosis, Jean Messiaen?
Yes, I think that environmental issues have nothing to do, in fact, with these hikes. Because actually we have a period of 30 years back where the fiscal basis declines because of disindustrialization of our countries, against which governments did nothing. We have this model of free trade and open borders that makes that what we consume nationally, we buy it at thousands and thousands of kilometers away. So if you take the pollution that make one big tanker across the planet that brings merchandise from China to France, it is equal to several hundreds of thousands of car pollution. So when the industrial and fiscal basis is reducing to keep the same rate of fiscal pressure, you must increase the rate of taxation. That's what's happening. This is the substance. After that, you have the form. I mean, we have in power the Emmanuel Macron government, which is.
By the way, the current taxes on prices at the pump, and you're right. France is in the median in Europe, about half of the of what you pay for when you go fill your tank is taxes. But the carbon tax per se, that wasn't Emmanuel Macron who instituted it. It was his predecessor, François Hollande.
Yes, but I think it's an aggregation of increasing in taxes that makes this social movement, which I recall it's non-organized, non-political, and very spontaneous gathering of people who feel disdain from the government. The government treats them with contempt. I was on the barricades on this weekend, and I heard people. They told me, we are fed up of being treated like a leprosy-affected person, like nothing. You know, all this, what I call the deplorables syndrome, how Hillary Clinton called this white middle class in the United States. And when I was on the barricades in several part of the suburbs in Paris, I did not see any diversity. I mean, no social diversity. It's only middle class and poor classes, and not also racial diversity. I mean, almost 100% of people who were there was white people. I mean, I didn't see any from the multicultural society that the elites are selling us for years. So I think that this movement will continue, and to keep this movement continue, political messages must be delivered to these people.
Alexis Poulain?
Well, I think we shouldn't fall into the trap of the xenophobic rant of saying that it's white people that are suffering. Everyone is suffering. Well, everyone is suffering from tax.
On the barricades, there was no
it's
any
a fact you want to
rational
see
diversity.
from the organization. And you hear that a lot about, yes, why do we pay tax for having people to come to France and get the money?
Exactly.
It's a fake issue. I think the main issue is a class war. No, come back to the real thing, is that the big companies are making money like they never did before. The big oil company are making a big sum of money just getting the oil, and it's fracking. It's dirty oil. Fracking in the US, fracking in the UK, where in Blackpool they had some trouble just starting fracking, and they get, you remember, some tremors. So the issue there is that we are trying to manage a transition from carbon world to the sustainable world, but we don't make the one who actually polluting pay. Either be the industrial, the oil companies, the producer, car companies. Let's look at car makers. Today we got Carlos Ghosn, who is in trouble, but Nissan in July just said that they were just cheating on the pollution test, just like Volkswagen did. So car manufacturers are lying to us. They are selling dirty products. They never pay. Who pays? It's us. It's the consumer who buy a dirty product. It's the end user, the consumer, and then the even poorer people who don't have a say. Because if you look at the global impact of climate change, the more who suffer are not in rich countries like ours. So we have to look at the bigger picture, not say, it's the white
if I can add
forget in the suburb of France. It's more than that.
In France, there is now a problem about the consent to taxation. I mean, people.
Tax is difficult, but
now than ever more before, people do not understand why they pay taxes. What they get for the money. What they get for the money. I mean, they pay a lot, and they feel stranger in their own countries because their own money does not get back to them in priority.
Brice Lalonde.
Yes,
you can see the budget of 2019.
I think it's true what was said before. There is a global impoverishment of France. We are getting poorer than we were before, and lots of people are concerned by that. How are we going to do? And I think the main problem we face, despite all our political arguments, how do we get rid of oil? Mm-hmm. How do we get to another society where we don't need to import oil from countries, by the way, who cut very easily heads out of people? And it would be better probably to not depend of these countries.
Let me ask you about this, Louis Chauvel, because there were some measures announced last week. The government already was very wary before this leaderless movement came about here in France, and they announced measures. Certain measures to people could trade in gas guzzling cars for more efficient models. We don't know if that's going to work or not. But particularly hard for some of those people that you described who've lost a lot of spending power over the past years. Particularly hard is all those who own the diesel cars that Alexis Poulain was talking about.
Indeed. What we have to figure out is we have to think of the frustration. Typically, the answer of the government last week was to face the situation of massive frustration of the French population. Many people in France have the impression to be trapped in a model of reforms where they cannot find their own escape. I mean that many in front of the cost of housing in France, many French people in the younger generation, in the generation Y, let's say, decided to live far away from central cities, and then they became trapped with a lifestyle based on cars, and there were many incentives to have diesel cars in the last 5 years. And what they discover today is that the old promises they received to survive in front of increasing costs is now.
So what should the government do? What should the government do on that score? What do you do to people like you say who couldn't afford to live in the inner city, moved out further away to the exurbs, and own that diesel car? What do you do?
It's much less a question of environment, oil, or of energy consumption. It's at first a problem of lack of hope regarding futures. And you have to be aware that 1 year and a half ago, the election of Macron created a situation of large or extreme hopes regarding the capacity to change the country. And now you have the backlash of this kind of hopes in massive frustrations. What is to be done? Come on. The question is much less a situation of what is the solution to this trap than the consciousness that we are now in the 21st century. In the situation of France, the situation is extremely difficult in the sense that I come from France, I live in Luxembourg. In this country,
Louis Chauvel, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to have to interrupt you very briefly because we have to take a very quick break. I apologize. We'll be right back. We'll pick up. You're watching the France 24 debate. Welcome back, or welcome if you're just joining us. It's the France 24 debate, and we're looking at the leaderless movement that sprung up Saturday in France, the Yellow Jackets, which have been protesting across France, been protesting for a third day this Monday. With us to talk about it, former French Environment Minister Brice Lalonde, who chairs the Business and Climate Summit. When's the next summit?
Next summit is in July, probably in China.
Probably in China, okay. With us as well, economist Jean Messia, political advisor to French far-right leader Marine Le Pen, Alexis Poulain, co-founder of the news website The Modern World, and Louis Chauvel, sociologist, who joins us from Luxembourg and teaches at the University of Luxembourg, author of the Downward... how did you translate it? I'm sorry. This I put the spiral of demotion. Sorry, say it again.
Yeah, spiral of downward mobility. Spiral of downward mobility.
Now, Louis Chauvel, before there were the Yellow Jackets, there were the Red Caps. Back in 2013, then French President François Hollande instituted what we called an eco-tax on trucks. But the bonnets rouges, as they're called in French, smashed up highway tax and radar ticket machines. And soon after, the government did an about-face. That time, though, there was the realization afterwards that some of the big bosses in the trucking industry had encouraged those red caps to protest. This time around, there is no leader, it seems.
Indeed. Yeah, the question of leaders is simply a kind of old tradition in France. In France, in the 19th century, we had Jacquerie. Jacquerie were a revolt of lower peasants in regions. And this kind of movement needs no leader, simply because you have a kind of polarization of all the minds regarding some kind of frustration. We focus on environment, oil, that kind of gasoline, diesel, and that kind of thing. But the reality is much more a reality of systemic frustration, where at first the issue is work and return to work. When the bills are paid and when the diesel is paid, people in France face a situation where the old dreams of an inclusive middle-class society, so these old dreams of middle-class society in France is fading and becoming a kind of nightmare of dependence to not only the state, but to a situation of deprivation regarding the old model of consumption society of middle class.
Yeah, and the French president's popularity has dipped since he's come to office. He's been accused of being out of touch. And he's kept tight-lipped so far over this movement after his speech Sunday before the Bundestag in Berlin. Emmanuel Macron kicking off a two-day state visit to Belgium. There, he commented on the jailing of Nissan Renault boss Carlos Ghosn, but refrained from talking about the yellow vests, instead leaving that task to his prime minister.
Le cap, il est bon.
Our course is the right one, and we are going to stick with it. We are not going to change course just because the wind is blowing. Believe me, the course set by the president, we're going to hold it. We have to. The one set by the president is to lower taxes, and it began this year, Mr. Delahousse.
But you see, the people don't feel it. The French, in any case, the most modest of people.
It's a fact, and we can probably both better explain and better accompany the people.
Let's talk here for a second politics and political strategy. Alexis Poulain, your reaction when you hear the Prime Minister saying, we had the impression during the previous tenure that the president was always caving in whenever there was a protest movement.
Yeah. But it's typical of Emmanuel Macron. I mean, he said, come and get me, but he's never there. And he came on Sunday in front of the Bundestag to get some people actually cheering up and saying, hey, you're great, you're good, thanks for being here, because he couldn't do that in France anymore. The trouble is that since the beginning of the summer, there's been full state of affairs with the Benalla affairs and others, where the image of the president, where the approval of his action has been failing and going down, because there hasn't been a word of just saying, I'm sorry, yes, we did some mistake and we'll try to do differently from now on. And if you hear what Mr. Philippe said on yesterday evening, France 2, he was pretty much saying, okay, we're here, but we don't care. We'll keep on going this way because this is the only way. And I think it's a great thing to do, to just make people more angry.
Brice Lalonde?
What I think very interesting and very different from the 19th century is the fact that the internet and the social medias are completely transforming the politics right now. And we don't know what's going to happen because, I mean, such a movement being created in such a short time and so many people around, which now are wondering what to do and how to finish. Is it going to be a flash in the pan? Is it going to last? I think we should be very take in consideration, because it can bring anywhere. It brings to the Brexit in England. Suddenly you have this volatility in politics, which are quite dangerous. So we need to work now and speak with these people and have our government to change its politics, because it's true. The social environment of this transition, and even the transition itself, where does it start, how much does it cost, it's not well done. We need to have it better done.
So it's the wrong strategy the government's taking.
I think the direction is good. They want to fight climate change, and they are right to do so, and probably we must help them, but they're not doing it in the right way. I think they are making mistakes. It's vague. We don't know nothing. Who's in charge? Some mistakes are being made in how do you target the money and things like that.
Jean Messia, in neighboring Italy, people felt they were being squeezed. They felt the politicians were out of touch. Comes to power this coalition, that brings together the Five Star Movement and the far-right Lega party. And the League almost passes through in their budget a plan for a flat tax. It got pushed aside at the very end, but that is not something that helps the little guy. And there's the sense that actually the tax-cutting measures that they've proposed in Italy are popular, but don't really help the working classes.
Well, I'm interested in what's happening in France right now. In France right now, the government is facing huge fiscal problems because they have the Commission, the European Commission, who insist on hitting the target of Maastricht Treaty, which is 3% of the deficit and 60% the debt over GDP. So right now we are far away from the ratio of public debt. So from one hand, the government has this revolver on the head by the Brussels Commission asking to create new taxes to fill the gap. On the other hand, the tax revenues are declining. So as I said, you must increase the rate.
So how do you succeed? How do you succeed then this transition? And at the same time not squeeze the little guy?
The problem is people do not understand why, as France is one of the less polluting countries in the planet, why this sacrifice should be put on the shoulder of the French people, and especially on the middle class people. Nobody is...
So what do you do? What are you suggesting?
What I suggest is to tax what should be taxed. I mean, these tankers. What we suggest is to change the global economic model, which is the main origin of the pollution. You know, this free trade, no border. We ask for local consumption, local production as far as it can be done. You know, for now it's not possible. When you just calculate what pollute a car in France is, you know, peanuts in comparison with all the big origins of pollution. So, and what will replace the diesel cars? If we are talking about all electrical industry and all electrical choices, this is actually more polluting than the diesel, because the electricity is not an energy. The electricity must be created by another origin of electricity, which is, for example, the nuclear power. So we are forcing people to change the diesel against the electrical source, and France does not master all the industry of electricity. You know, to the electrical batteries, for example, all the energy that is needed is also only produced in China. I mean, China has a monopoly on the electrical batteries and what the components of the electrical batteries. So we are abandoning the diesel industry.
Not on the production, on the raw materials.
Yeah, exactly, the raw materials.
So Brice Lalonde, how do you do it? How do you succeed in doing this transition?
I must say, I don't completely agree. In France, the main sources of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases are transport and housing for the time being. Perhaps we would prefer to have industry, but industry has gone. So there we are. So we have to work on cars and transport and electricity. We master electricity in France. We have electricity is 100% national in France. So, I mean, if you go to electric cars, it's not going to be done in one day. You can slowly do it. You need to have, you recharge your cars. It's not so easy. You have to do it in planning in your cities. The other problem is housing.
The pollution is a global problem.
The problem
you cannot isolate
oil
the French
and boilers in houses. You have to replace them. It's slowly, but you can do it, and it's going to be to the benefit of the people and to the benefit of the poorer people.
To the homeowners, not really to the people who are renting, actually.
To the people who are renting because they pay the heating.
Yeah.
If I may just...
and the heating bill will be cheaper, is what you're saying.
Of course, it's going to be cheaper. There's lots of things. The heat pump, for instance, can replace fuel.
If I just answer in 1 second.
Please.
The model is global. So what we must calculate is the responsibility of France as a country in this global climate changing. So even though if in France the origin of pollution is cars and housing, it is peanuts in comparison of all the world sources of pollution.
Yes, but the problem is oil. We import oil, and we import oil from countries we don't even market the price.
Tomorrow you will import from China. That 90% of the monopoly on the electrical sources.
I think if we go back to the Yellow Vest movement, I think there are also the fact that people don't believe in what has been sold in terms of helping for saving the planet or climate or whatever. Because we know clearly that second-hand cars, the diesel car that people will sold and sell to get new cars, will go to Africa. And they'll still produce CO2 and they'll still be running and people will still be driving this car for more than 10, 15 years, 20 years. So it's not about having a real impact on what's wrong, CO2. The real impact is not there. And we know it. So why the tax? What is the tax is created for? And the reality is that it's for the state budget. It's just saying, okay, we pretend to do the transition, but not. It's not a measure. It's not a tax for the transition.
Louis Chauvel, you're perched in Luxembourg between France and Germany. We've been mentioning Italy, but let's talk about the Germans who... I guess you could say over there it's the best of times and the worst of times because they really are keen on this energy transition, but we've seen the politics get disrupted and the squeeze of the middle class or this middle class anxiety has been felt at the polls in different ways. We've talked a lot about the far-right AfD. There's also been the surge of the Green Party in recent regional elections. How do you explain the shifting political landscape, not just in France, but among its neighbors?
Indeed, when you compare France and Germany, what you see is that if you want to understand frustration of populations, the energy aspect is 10% of the general system. In reality, the most important aspect of this frustration in the middle class is at first connected with lack of economic perspective and also difficulties in terms of identity. And identity is much more connected with migration issues and whatsoever. The systemic problem of the middle class today is the fact that economy is stagnating. We are facing a situation where over the last 8 years we have had no major recession. We see this next recession coming in a context where you have a trend of difficulties in the middle class. The situation in France and Germany are very different in terms of unemployment. But when you consider the aspect of economic frustration and the aspect of lack of vision of future, you have something common in all the populism in the Western world. That is, politicians had not been able to give visions, credible visions of futures and improvement for the next generation. So this means that the yellow vest movement in France or the Alternative für Deutschland, the ADR movement in Germany, are at first a general Western middle class problem of lack of identity, positive identity regarding the future we have. In this respect, it's clear that the Green parties had been able, on the short range, to obtain a larger share of the votes, but on the very long range of one generation, on the long range of 3 decades, what we see is increasing anxiety, increasing doubts, and increasing fear of futures. And typically in France, the Yellow Vest movement is much more than a car and home heating energy aspect. It's really a sense of the next generation will no longer be able to benefit from the consumption level of the previous generations. It's true in Germany, it's true in France, and what we see in France is a consciousness, the coming consciousness that we are facing the next recession with a very high level of unemployment at this stage, and the real issue in this respect is much less car than work. The lack of work, the lack of investment in the future of work in France will be extremely dangerous for the future of political stability in France like elsewhere.
It'll be a big problem. So what should the government be saying? What should the government be doing? Should the government be spelling it out in the terms that you're saying it, Louis Chauvel?
Indeed, the first thing to do for any kind of government is to invest in work and solve the problem, solve the alternative between poor workers and mass unemployment. The problem in France is that we have both poor workers and mass unemployment. Investment is the answer to those problems.
Investment is the answer, Jean Messia?
Reindustrialization is the answer. I mean, the government today does not have any national ambition of widening the industrial base, how to create activity, how to bring back activities to France, how to bring back employments to France. And I think what Donald Trump is doing in the United States, and even in Italy with migration issues, politics is back. I mean, with Donald Trump and Salvini, what are they proving? They prove that all what has been presented to us as natural phenomena, which is economic disindustrialization, the massive migration, politics has answers to that and can.
Donald Trump's answers to reopen coal mines, which of course is not going to happen.
The problem now in France is what is the alternative? I mean, you can discourage people from having gasoline cars. You can force people to change their car. What is the alternative? As I said, if it is electricity, the question is rare earth. Rare earth, China has the monopoly of rare earth. The OPEP cartel has 40% of the oil production now. So it's an oligopoly. China has 90% of rare earths. So it's a monopoly. And if we abandon the gasoline model, and if the alternative is what is called clean energy, like electricity, which is not an energy, so you put yourself in the monopoly of the Chinese because you
make yourself beholden to the Chinese if you move to battery-powered cars?
Well, we're fighting, and that's why Europe is somehow a chance if we manage it correctly, because we are dependent from the GAFAs of the US in terms of internet and anything about intelligence, and we are depending on China for the infrastructure. And if you look at the big problem, work is an answer, but it's not the only one, because work is very volatile. I mean, you can decide to invest as a big company in France, and the next day say, oh, it's too expensive, let's move to Brazil. I think the key to answering this anger and the fear of the middle class is public services, is investing in the state and saying, actually, you know where the taxes are going, and you know why, because it's really fighting poverty, our problem. The IMF, the Davos Summit, they've been saying for more than 5 years that the big issue we are facing now is the rise of inequalities. Nothing has been done in fighting inequalities, nothing. And this measure, the tax, what we need now is tax justice. We need the riches to pay for the one who can't. And this making the as you said, the small guys pay is not a policy.
Brice Lalonde, very briefly.
Well, I think Macron is right on one thing, and probably you would not agree, is the European Union. I think we need a strong European Union, but we need to change it. It needs to be more democratic. It needs to have a real vision. It must fight inequalities. But if it's not in the European as a continent, I don't know how we'll do it, because we are in front of us. We have the United States and North America. We have China. We have India. If we're not a strong continent together, we won't make it. So I mean,
United States and China are not continents; they are nation states, which is not Europe.
Nation continents also.
No. In nation states, they speak the same language. We do not.
All right,
that's in front of us.
Yeah, we speak English. We're French.
French, one of the official languages in Brussels. Brice Lalonde, I want to thank you. Jean Messia. I want to thank as well Alexis Poulain, Louis Chauvel for being with us from Luxembourg. Stay with us. Media Watch is next.